Hello, Journey family and friends. It's Pastor John with you on this week's edition of Midweek Conversations. Joined this week by Pastor Kevin Monahan.
John, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Our executive pastor, Kevin Monahan, and we're joined today by JD Eger.
Hey, how's it going?
All right,
man.
let's
Glad to have you.
Get it official.
Yeah.
Get it all done. All right.
Dustin would be proud.
Yeah, absolutely. JD is our Director of Operations.
Correct.
And there's a lot to direct.
There is.
There's a lot to operate here, isn't there?
Yep, many hats.
First of all, let me just say, I hope everybody had a great Father's Day. All three of us are dads, so I hope you guys had good Father's Day.
Yep, good food, fellowship, yep.
Good. JD's the king of dad jokes, so we've put a few of those in to the service this past week.
Yep, I approved, absolutely.
I heard they landed okay.
Yeah. They did.
Did it good. JD,
Great job.
did you get my little setup of Harvey? People were dying to hear this message. I mean, come on, did you not hear that? So Pastor Harvey's going to share a message people have been dying to hear. I thought if anybody got it, you'd get that.
Well, I heard the one about supplies and...
and you were done.
Yeah, well, I had to text Doug Gorell on that.
Doug Gorell is our facilities director, and Doug told me that joke, I think, or you told me that joke.
Yeah.
He told you that joke.
Yeah.
That was that was a good one.
Yep, sure was.
Good. All right. So hope everybody had a good Father's Day. We did. We were traveling. We were in Cincinnati over the weekend. My best buddy in life and ministry, David Vaughn, he had his final Sunday at his church. Dave's been the pastor of Whitewater Crossing Christian Church for 20 years, and had his final Sunday with the church. And he's a little ahead of me in the retirement game. And so I said, when that happens, I got to be there.
Yeah.
And got there. It was a great service. In fact, maybe we can put the whole thing, you'll see the link online there. You can watch the service. I ended up speaking at the service as well for about 12 minutes, but it was a great send-off and a great Father's Day.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
Excellent. Yeah.
Good. So JD is joining us today because over the weekend, not only was it Father's Day weekend, we had an important safety audit done.
Yep.
So let's just talk a little bit about that. This group came in about 10 years ago.
Well, this group came in maybe 5-6 years ago.
Okay, gotcha.
But
All right.
we had originally kind of drafted our documentation for all this about 10 years ago.
Yeah, so when Pastor Roddy Connor was in your role as kind of overseeing operations, brought in some advisors in the field of safety and just helping everybody feel safe when they come here. Yeah. But there's a lot to that.
There is. And the one thing, especially with me being new to the role, what I wanted to do was kind of review the past and then get up to speed for the future. So, and one of the things that Roddy said before he left was, hey, get a hold of this company. If they need to come out, have them come out. And that's exactly what I did. And I think that was to everybody's benefit for sure.
What was the name of the company?
Strategos International. Yeah, and they do security for large events, large corporate events, concerts. They also advise, obviously, churches, but they work and deploy their people in churches as well, too. And the president of the company is actually director of security for his church. So, yeah, it was much needed and great.
Talk about timely.
Yeah.
In the conversations we're having about public safety in a lot of places, whether it's school or place of business, doctor's office. I mean, there's all kinds of places where recently there's been shootings, there's been violence, there's been things like that. Churches are not exempt from Iowa to California.
Yeah, and actually one of the statistics he showed was that there's a definite increase in that, especially towards churches. So I mean, it's a hard topic sometimes to have to discuss, but a timely one for sure.
Well, and I think sometimes the great part about it was he was so positive in that and interacting and stuff, because sometimes it's easy to focus on the negative, but just the necessity of making sure that, like, here at church, we say everybody's welcome, and we want to make sure that they're safe physically and emotionally, spiritually, all of that everybody can come to the table and join us here. And so I want to tell you, man, you did a great job kind of planning and putting that all together, Pastor Ron. It was, we laughed sometimes and you almost like teared up a little bit sometimes to see that. But I think everybody left like kind of inspired and excited and encouraged. So, I mean, really great job helping us out with that. So
and that was probably the one thing I guess maybe I was kind of nervous because it was a pretty heavy topic, and Vaughn Baker's a pretty serious guy.
Is that the guy that comes in to direct it?
Yeah, he's actually the president of the company, and he flew down specifically for us. And but he made it interactive, and we joked, and it was great. It really was good.
So you said Friday evening there was a smaller group. You, Kevin, Randy Scoggins, chairman of our elders, and retired police officer and police chief, which has a lot of great help and insight for us. And Doug Gorell, our facilities director, who is also a retired police officer and has a great background. So I'm sure that was helpful, right?
Yeah, so that was kind of a time for us to set some goals and objectives for what we wanted to accomplish over the weekend. There was also some review of some of our policies, question and answer time. And then what we did was we just toured the facility. I showed him basically every part of Journey campus that you could see. And then we took a drive over to Lake County, and we did the same thing out there.
Yeah, and then Saturday was a much larger group.
Yeah, the group was about 60 people, volunteers, staff, personnel. And the presentation, it covered so many topics. We landed especially on some of the statistics, like I was saying before, but we also kind of talked through the heavier topics and played some 911 calls, and it was a pretty heavy topic, but then we moved right along into how can we practically apply what we're going to learn. We role-played some scenarios, which was great. He picked on Trey a little bit, but it was a good time.
Trey, our resident?
Our resident Trey, yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
gotcha.
Yep. Trey got the pat down, so.
Very good. Yeah. Well, JD, what did you learn from the weekend? What are some big takeaways that you saw?
One of the biggest takeaways that I got was that security doesn't need to be just sitting in the back of a room with their arms folded. He calls his security team greeters, and they walk through so many instances where how to approach people, engage with people, shake people's hands, get to know them. And then he went through some tips on how to identify some things. But that was probably the biggest and most surprising takeaway for me, was just to be a little bit more engaging as far as the security team, to just create that welcoming environment.
Yeah, you think of security as people all in black and talking into their wrist.
Exactly.
Or a bouncer at a club. A bouncer at a club, right?
Exactly. Imposing characters, things like that.
Yep.
Well, we have a great group of volunteers.
We do.
That help out in the SOD, and explain what that is, SOD.
Yeah, security on duty, and then we have MOD, which is manager on duty, which is typically a position that one of our elders will take.
Or sometimes staff.
Sometimes staff, yep, absolutely. And actually, we have a great acronym that we learned from the weekend. I know that you like them, so it was called JDLR. Just don't look right.
JDLR.
Yes, sir. Keeping your eyes open for.
We're talking about you personally.
Not me personally.
JD doesn't look right. I mean, that would be another letter in there.
Oh, yes.
Just don't look right.
Just don't look right. Yep.
JDLR. Yep. All right. I do like that.
Yeah. Figured you would.
Sometimes people who've been trained that background, they just can intuitively, they kind of sense it, don't they? They just kind of sense some stuff. It just doesn't look right.
Yeah, and actually, one thing he had talked about too was how people have innate senses for that type of thing. And he had actually mentioned when he was talking to Tammy how she had some body language things that she didn't even pick up on that he talked about, and then kind of as the group, you're unpacking that, thinking, oh, okay. Yeah, there are some clues. We can really start to look into that. I guess there was an instance where he had stepped intentionally just inside her personal space bubble, and then she stepped back out. And it was just, it was cool to hear him talk about that. And it was funny to see Tammy's face as she was like, I didn't even realize I did that.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, I know Brian Hamill has been a huge help and volunteer with security on duty.
Yep.
He's done that for a while.
Yep.
Brett Abernathy did that for a while as well, and and these are just members of the church, and just great volunteers that really care about this ministry and
have a heart for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and for me personally, I mean, I've got kids that come here.
Yeah.
You know, my children are part of the high school ministry, and then they're part of early childhood. Well, not early childhood, but elementary. So, I mean. Certainly, I have a vested interest in making sure of that, but I love people.
Yeah.
And we want to be welcoming. We want everybody to have that welcoming.
I was just in a conversation earlier today, actually with my counselor, and he was talking about some words that kind of lift people up above divisions and phrase, like honor. Doesn't matter, whatever side you may be on a particular issue. Everybody understands honor, but a key word he said is safety. Mm. And using the term like we think this is best. It was a great point Dwight made. You and I can debate and argue about what you think is best, what I think is best, what you think is best. But when we talk about safety, hey, let's do what's safe. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure we're being safe. Everybody kind of rallies to that.
Yep. Yeah, and to that token, one of the compliments that Journey got is we're pretty far ahead of what a lot of churches are doing.
That's good to hear.
From everything from the fobs, the door access, cameras, all that stuff. We're pretty far ahead, but it's obviously, we don't want to rest on our laurels with it. Yeah. We want to stay ahead of it. We want to be prepared.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying to me earlier, there's always room to improve.
Sure.
No matter,
absolutely.
If you're 80, 90% ahead of where everybody else is, there's still 10 or 15% improvement that can make a difference.
Yep, absolutely.
Good.
Well, it's great to be part of such a church that values that too, to come in and be like, hey, my kids are safe. It's a safe environment. People are background checked, consistently and trained and interviewed and all of that kind of stuff to make sure that that it provides a safe environment so that God can work with them, and
I think that word you use, trained, and that's what's part of what this is.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say you value that. It's another thing to train people.
Yeah.
Here's how we need to operate.
Yeah, and there's going to be more of that, more training, more practical application of the things that we've learned. I don't know exactly what that looks like right now, but we'll put a plan in place and we'll execute for sure.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Any final thoughts from you, Pastor Kevin?
No, I'm excited to hear that. And so what's the next step? He's reviewing all of our stuff and then gonna give us some.
Yep. So we'll get a full review.
Yeah.
That's gonna have some of their recommendations. Yeah. They've also they can partner with us to provide some of that training. To even rewrite our procedural manual, and we'll visit on that topic a little bit, and we'll see what they can offer and how we want to engage them in that.
This was what you've called like a safety audit, and
that's a great way to put it.
The way that we have a financial audit every year.
Yep.
We tried to make sure that our systems, our protocols are right, everything's good, everything's accounted for. In the same way, safety, we're just trying to make sure, hey, our systems are up to date, and it's kind of a safety audit.
Yeah.
So and then we'll get the report to kind of say, here's where you are and here's what you can do.
Yep. Yeah. So we had the safety audit, which was one part of it, and then the training part was actually called intruder awareness and lockdown procedures for church personnel. So yeah.
So JD, what if someone's watching this and they're like, man, I want to get involved. I want to volunteer somewhere. What's their kind of next step?
The next step, obviously, you can go to our website, journeychristian.com/serve. And if you scroll maybe 3/4 of the way down, the security team is technically nestled under facilities. So you'll see it there, fill out a form. We'll go through a background check process, and we'll get with our head of security, and we'll start that conversation.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a great call, Pastor Kevin.
Yeah,
so anybody that is watching and says, how can I help out? How can I serve? This sounds very interesting. Just do what JD said and join us. We'd love to have that. Well, guys, thanks. Good word. I feel bad I didn't wear a black shirt. I mean, you guys get your black shirts on. You should have called me.
Yeah.
And let me know.
Well, this was kind of a game time decision for me.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, gotcha. Well, I'll bring a little
Color, you do. You always do. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Hey, so glad to have you join us on this week's Midweek Conversation. I will be wrapping up the series, Things to Know Before You Go, this coming Sunday, last Sunday of June. Can you believe that? Halfway through the year. Wow.
Quick.
Yeah, and so started summer officially this week, but wrapping up this series, Things to Know Before You Go. So we've talked about aging, we talked about death, and talked about dying. Pastor Harvey did last Sunday. Mm-hmm. This week we're going to talk about the resurrection, which is our final state, and the most, certainly the longest state of afterlife is a resurrected life. What does that mean? Why is that important? A lot of people don't understand the importance of that. And what's that mean? It's a very crucial doctrine, and we're going to talk about that this Sunday. I look forward to sharing that with you. Hope you join us, 9:30, 11:15 a.m., Apopka, Lake County, or online. We'd love to have you join us. And as always, we're loving the journey.